Welcome to Offgrid Victory. So today I want to talk to you about this little guy that I'm working on. Not so little. It's a pretty large greenhouse that I'm helping a neighbor out with, and specifically I'm doing electrical today, and that's what I wanted to show you inside the greenhouse, the importance of the right wire. Okay, so I have this greenhouse that I've been working on, and so yeah, I'm putting a 100 amp service into this greenhouse. And so there's the box. So that's a 100 amp service coming into the greenhouse, and it's fed by that electrical pole over there that has 200 amp service and a meter. And so the wiring's been mostly done. I have this loose wire here to demonstrate what we want to talk about today, and that's this guy right here. And so that is the UF-B, or underground rated 12 gauge wire. So this is 12 gauge / 2 wire. It's really not 2 wire, it's like a hot and the neutral and the ground. So it comes with, they call that 2 wire, so 12 2 wire. Anyway, specifically this is underground wire. Now why are we using that in this application? So here's some of the greenhouse, some of the wiring. There's some wiring up there. Up there, that's going to control the lights, and it's on a switch, and some outlets here. On the corners here we have outlets for the fans. There's going to be a corner outlet there and behind me, and of course a GFI circuit. Definitely, because we're going to get a lot of moisture in here, maybe water splashed into the outlets, we want to use a GFI circuit. So anyway, why use underground wire, and what makes it a little bit more complicated to use than the normal wiring that you use, the Romex plastic sheeted stuff that's 12 gauge or 14 gauge. So usually use the lighter gauge stuff like 14 gauge with 15 amp service, but we're using 20 amp service on all these wires. So we have 20 amp circuits and 12 gauge wire. And specifically, we're using underground wire because it does two things for us. First of all, it has heavier insulation, so it's more shielded from water. Specifically, it's meant to be buried too, so it has even better, moisture retardant properties. And of course, it also has UV protection, like it says. This one particularly says sunlight resistant, right? So, and it says ground here. So anyway, this is the wire you want to use on a project like a greenhouse, where you're going to have a lot of UV radiation on your wiring. Now, some of this wiring, as you can see, is exposed to the sun, like right here. You see it's run on the outside because we're not going to drywall this, or these studs aren't going to be encapsulated by drywall or any other surface material. On the outside, obviously, we have this plastic sunlight material that it can go through. It's some kind of polycarbonate material that's going to be all around the greenhouse. But yeah, this greenhouse is going to get a lot of moisture, a lot of water, maybe sometimes sprayed directly on the outlet. So you want a GFI circuit. And of course, you want something that is also water resistant too. So yeah, next time you do a greenhouse, consider using the underground wire. A little bit more complicated to use, just to give you an idea. What you want to do with it is lightly score with a knife, just the center on both sides, and then you can split it. And so you can split it after that, just scoring the centers on either side, and then you pull it apart. It'll score nicely. Make sure you don't cut into the hot or the neutral lines, right? And afterwards, what you want to do is you want to take your a little wiring crimp and just crimp around, and then pull off the insulation. And so then you'll have exposed your hot, and you'll have your neutral. And that way you can go ahead and do your outlets and whatnot. So yeah, underground wire. Okay, it's good stuff. I use it on projects like this, or whenever I have wire that's going to be touching the ground at any point in conduit. Or I actually use this stuff for my wells as well. So lots of uses for the UF rated underground wire. In this case, it's 12.2. Excellent stuff. A little difficult to maneuver and a little bit harder to put in boxes because it's stiffer. But otherwise, definitely something you want to use on your projects like this. Alrighty, shalom.